and welcome to the And Then Write podcast. I'm your host, Stacey Walsh, and this is episode 18, Writing and Community. Thank you for joining me again. A couple quick announcements before I jump into today's episode. One, we are getting very close to opening registration for 2020 retreats, both the Reset and Renew and Main Writing retreats. Early bird registration rates will be available to newsletter subscribers, so if that's something you want to take advantage of, please visit andthenwrite.com to join the newsletter list. And two, today also marks the beginning of National Novel Writing Month. Are you participating this year? I am, although in a modified way. Further details and November's writing prompt will be shared at the end of the episode. On to today's topic. So, a couple months ago on episode 16, Starve Your Distractions, I went over a list of things that have helped me maintain focus when it comes to my creative goals. And one of the items was I set up outside accountability. In particular, I shared that I need deadlines and other people to talk about writing with. It helps to maintain focus and keep me on task. This can look like many different things depending on your preferences. Join or start a writing group. Take a writing class. Have a monthly coffee date with a writer friend where you talk about current work. Hire a writing coach to help you set up a schedule and deadlines. Talk about your writing with whoever will listen. Keep your writing life front and center. Stop relegating it to the back burner. Well, it just so happens that that particular episode coincided with me joining a writing group. My first ever, really. I was what Glennon Doyle has termed sighted, a combination of scared and excited. I won't lie, I was scared to start sharing my work again. It's been a while since I've done that with new-to-me people, and there's always that period of uncertainty, that need for trust building that has to occur before anything fruitful can happen. So of course, the introvert in me started throwing up resistance. Excuses as to why I didn't really need a writing group. The distance I needed to travel to get to it. Was it really going to be productive? But then there was the excited part. The part of me that lit up when I learned that this group of women were coming together to work on their writing. I knew I had to go, that I was going to have to force myself to go, at least at first, even though the idea thrilled me on many levels. Then the crushing part. I couldn't make the first meeting. And if you're anything like me, you'll understand that this was just fuel for the excuse fire. Things are already underway. Everyone will know each other. I'll be the outsider coming in. It's pretty amazing the amount of lame excuses my brain can come up with. So I did my best to turn this nonsense off and convinced myself to show up for the next meeting. There were 4 of us who met that day, and I wasn't the only one showing up for the first time. Woo. We did a writing prompt and talked about the projects we hope to work on while in the group. And I was clearly not the only one who had some nerves around all this. I immediately felt relieved, welcomed, and perhaps most importantly, not alone. And this is the key, isn't it? Although many people still like to hold on to that romanticized version of the isolated writer, toiling away in some far-flung location, or a dark attic, or holed up in a coffee shop. And let me just say, I have been a writer in all those scenarios, and at times they are most welcome. What gets lost is that so much of the writing process is about interaction with other people. Let me say that again for the people in the back. So much of the writing process is about interaction with other people. It feels like this statement shouldn't be true, and for a select few writers, it may not be true at all. But let's think about it for a minute. One of the main reasons I went to graduate school, sure, to learn more about writing, that should be obvious, but I could have learned more about writing on my own. That in and of itself isn't difficult to do. No, what I was most interested in was twofold. One, I wanted to push myself into uncomfortable writing terrain by taking classes outside of my normal form. I mostly write nonfiction, and so I intentionally enrolled in a program where I didn't have to declare a track and had the freedom to take any writing class I wanted. I immediately took a poetry class and a fiction class, and it was so uncomfortable and nervous making and not at all my natural environment. To this day, though, I'm so glad I made myself take courses that terrified me, that I knew I would be awful at least initially. They forced me to grow and inform the writing I continue to do in the forms I felt most comfortable in. And two, I wanted to be in the same space with other writers, to learn from them, to be inspired by them, to receive their input, to soak up their unique take on assignments, to talk with them about writing. Being around other writers, sharing work with other writers, reading the work of other writers, this all serves to make me a better writer. I've always known this. It's one of the reasons I also love teaching. I learn so much from students just by witnessing them and their process. But getting back to grad school, although there are many things I didn't love about graduate school, there's one thing I still miss all the time, a decade after graduating: the community. I miss my classmates. We are flung all over the world, and while I still keep in touch with several of them, we rarely have the opportunity to meet face to face or to engage in our writing life the way we did then. I've heard this comment in other realms too. I've taken other non-writing related courses as an adult, and while they were and are educational, I'm amazed that time and again, the biggest benefit to these endeavors is the community that comes out of these shared experiences. This doesn't just apply to writing. The concept of community makes so many things better. My writing group has been meeting for a couple months now, and I admitted to the group a few weeks ago that I was, in fact, in love with our writing group. I gush about it all the time to my friends that it's been the best thing to have happened to my writing in a long, long time. I leave each meeting feeling energized, inspired, and happy. It's a 2-hour slice of time every 2 weeks where I get to fully live in my writing life. And the fact that it's a shared experience is part of what I love so much about it. Each person in the writing group is working on a nonfiction manuscript. This has been a happy coincidence for me, and we've all made progress we wouldn't have otherwise made without our meetings. We've shared writing, asked questions, and dug deep to identify what is bold and specific about our work. And most recently, we all committed to participating in National Novel Writing Month, or NaNoWriMo for short. Say that 5 times fast. If you aren't familiar with NaNoWriMo, it's a writing challenge that happens every November. The goal is to write a 50,000 word or more novel in the month of November. This amounts to a minimum of 1,667 words per day. That's a lot of words. People tend to have a love-hate response to this challenge. I've written about this recently on Medium, if you want to find me and check it out, but I won't get into that part today. Obviously, everyone in my writing group is working on a nonfiction manuscript, so what gives? This is what I actually love about NaNoWriMo. You can adapt it to your specific writing situation. I've always viewed the challenge as a call to generate. It's not about writing a polished draft, editing as you go, which is something I struggle not to do, or even writing anything good. It's about getting words on a page. It's about developing the habit of sitting down each day to write something. It's about having more at the end of the month than you did at the beginning. These are all goals I can get behind. At our last writing group, we prepped for the challenge. Questions were presented, strategies were outlined, individual goals were discussed, worries were heard and addressed. My writing group always has me feeling like I'm 2 steps ahead of where I actually am, if that makes sense. I'm still feeling my way through the structure and content of the manuscript I'm working on. And I'm not sure I would have participated in NaNoWriMo this year because I wasn't feeling like I'm at a generation stage. But after talking and prepping, I realized I do need to participate in this massive word dump because that's all it really is. It's about getting words out of your brain and onto the page, good or not. And this, to me, is what community does for the writing process. It gets you engaged, uncomfortable, moving forward before you're ready. I mean, who's ever ready to do anything, really? You figure it out as you go, and when you know you have support, it means more often than not that you keep going. When I work with writing clients, I often find myself stressing the importance of accountability and community. And to me, these two go hand in hand because we all get stalled out. We all suffer from imposter syndrome from time to time. We all wonder, but how do I start this? How do I keep going? Usually, I like to provide a variety of options when it comes to community building, but these days my response is pretty one note. Get thee a writing group. And then the gushing commences. I sincerely hope I haven't worn you out on the concept. On an upcoming episode, you'll get to meet my writing group, and then you'll see why I can't stop talking about it and them. Now, maybe you're wondering how to find a group, or at least I hope you are. There are many ways. You can start one of your own or find an existing group by visiting bookstores, the library, checking with your local colleges. Look for writing-related nonprofits. If you participate in NaNoWriMo, chances are there's a local branch that has an active group you can join. Look online to see if you can find a group in your area. Even if all you can find is one other person to join you, do it. I've been part of online groups before, and while they can be useful and lovely, nothing replaces face-to-face contact. Does this whole concept make you uncomfortable? Good. Lean into that. Push yourself outside your comfort zone and at least test it out for a stretch. It's easy to stay at home and keep doing what you've been doing, and maybe that's been working well for you. But I would still encourage you to get out and interact with other writers. Just the simple act of talking about your writing, having to succinctly put into words what you are attempting to work on, even that can have dramatic effects on your work. So now it's your turn. I would love to hear about what you've done to build community around your writing life, or what you are hoping to do now that you've listened to this episode. If you're comfortable sharing your thoughts with the group, head on over to the Facebook page, And Then Write, and give it a follow. Also, for the monthly Medium writing prompt for the online arm of And Then Write, I'm accepting submissions that explore writing challenges you've done, NaNoWriMo or otherwise. What was your experience like? What benefits emerged, if any? Why would or wouldn't you recommend challenges to other writers? If you'd rather message me directly, feel free to email me at andthenwrite@gmail.com. To listen to previous podcast episodes or to sign up for my newsletter, please visit andthenwrite.com. Thank you for listening today. I hope you'll join me again in a few weeks for episode 19.